To access the backside of the rear taillight assembly, take this panel off. The problem is somewhere within this socket. What I'm going to do is take the socket off of the other side, the driver's side, and I'm going to swap it out. So here is the socket and the bulb from the driver's side. Now I'll put this back in on the driver's side and we'll test the brake lights again. So I have some 80 grit sandpaper. I have it folded over so I can fit it down in there, and I'm just going to rub it against those pins. I'm going to put that paper down in here also. Try to freshen up the metal down here where the bulb snaps in. This is anti-corrosive lubricant spray that I'm putting on the contacts. There are also points of contact around the outside. So I'm going to take that sandpaper again, clean those up. I'm going to try a little spray on those contacts as well. Let me plug it in and see what happens. So that worked. If you have a Highlander and both brake lights go out on one side, check out your harness, check out this little socket, swap it from one side to the other, see if your problem moves with this socket. That's telling you for certain that the problem is the socket and not the wiring and not the bulbs. And you might get away with just cleaning the contacts on the socket like I did instead of buying a new socket. It's been about a week and everything's still working like it should. Tail lights and brake lights. So now let's look at why things work like they do on this car, and also let's clean the other socket. The reason this socket is so important is because all the power that goes to the backup light and turn signal and tail light and brake lights on top and bottom, all that power goes through that socket. And you can see wires leading from these contacts. Those wires go to, this one for example is the turn signal. The other wires lead to the tail light and brake light up top and the one on the bottom. So that's why it's so important for these contacts to be clean and also the contacts on the socket to be clean. So once again, we want to clean the pins on the inside, now the contacts on the outside, and this is very important because this is where the power comes out of this socket and goes to the other lights. And also because I'm putting pressure on those contacts while I'm cleaning them, I'm pushing them down. I want to bend them up just a little bit. This should apply to 01 through 07 Highlanders, which are all considered first generation. So if that's what you have, this is probably the setup you have. Power coming in through this socket, through the backup light, being dispersed to the other lights like I showed you through those wires. So an issue with any of those lights, not just brake lights like I had, an issue with the tail lights or brake lights, turn signal or flasher or backup light, it may lead you back to this socket or the individual sockets, because they all have contacts on each individual socket and on the assemblies. So you can clean those contacts as well. Maybe that'll fix your problem. And as far as bulb numbers go, top and bottom, tail light, brake light, those are 7443. Two in the middle, the backup and turn signal flasher, those are 7440. And the turn signal flasher is an amber bulb. You can see where it's tinted kind of orange. So with my problem, what led me to suspect the socket was the fact that both brake lights, top and bottom, they went out at the same time. And then like you saw, when I switched the socket to the other side, the problem followed the socket. So that's what told me the socket was my issue. And if you find that you need a new socket, if cleaning it doesn't help, I'll put a link down below in the description to a socket that should fit an 01 through 07 Highlander.